On today's video, we are still working on my 06 Jeep Wrangler LJ, installing a negative bus bar. As you can see here, I bought this off of Amazon. Over the past few months of owning the Jeep, I've noticed that I have added a few more brand new grounds. As you can see here, this ground is going to my front turn signals because that ground went bad. I've got, well, this is a factory ground, but I've got some new grounds for my upgraded headlight kit. All right, and then I noticed that there was the ground for my original wiring harness for my upgraded headlight kit. When I installed that, this ground, as you can see, is cut. Well, that went bad from the original harness. So long story short, I've got a bunch of grounds, a bunch of new grounds all over the place, and I have them all either drilled or tapped into the back of the grill, and it got a little messy. So wanted to clean this up a little bit. Still have to figure out where to what I want to do with this. This is for the this is the upgraded relay and the wiring harness kit for the upgraded headlights. So long story short, bought this bus bar. I figured this was a nice location to install it, to keep everything clean. So what's going to happen is I've already wired this up. I had a nice little wire pre-made from a different project, so I use this to tap into the existing ground, goes to the negative bus bar, and now everything else can get connected right here. Everything else can get connected right here, and it'll be fairly clean. There is a cover for it. Not that it really matters, it's not really waterproof, but just in case, I don't know, anything touches that. Would have been nice if it was on top or if it covered the whole thing, but you know what? 12 bucks on Amazon, can't beat that. All right, so the way I installed this, it's actually pretty nifty, because if you'll notice, let me take it to the other side. There's some existing holes, right? You see here, there's some existing holes for in the grill already. This doesn't have it. On the other side, on the passenger side, there's actually two holes just like this from the factory, 1 and 2. So what I did was, instead of drilling more holes into the body, I used one of the existing holes right here to pass a bolt through with a nut. Unfortunately, the one I got is just a tad short for it to grab the other bolt on the other side. Let me fix the camera over here a little bit. All right, so sorry, this guy's in the way, but you get the point, right? There's two holes. What I did was, it's a little tough, but it helps if you take the ring off of your headlight. And you could probably see, I don't know if the light's gonna work out, you could probably see where, no, you really can't, but either way, you can access the head of those bolts that I passed through from right here, from the opening. So this one goes in perfect. As you can see, this one's at a little bit of an angle, and that is because I had to use a smaller bolt with a smaller nut, and it's a little crooked, but it's just enough to make it. And believe you me, this guy is not going anywhere, right? So this big boy did the job. This guy is just there for support, and this is snug, nice and snug. I just tested the connection with the multimeter. No resistance, which means this bus right here is perfect. It is perfectly grounded. So now all I got to do is grab all my grounds, fix them up and clean them up a little bit. Because if I don't fix these connections, then what's the point of having a nice bus bar if these connections, you know, are in this kind of shape? So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. And so let's get to it. Might have to extend some of these because the idea is this relay sits down here. So this relay kind of stays right there, nice and snug, and everything looks fairly clean when, you know, so this gets plugged in to the headlight, like so. Let me see if there's a better angle. Nope, don't want to lose the camera down there. Okay, well, this would just get plugged right there to the headlight. I'll also put a link to the kit that I bought for the headlight kit. It's perfect. It does the job. Well, that one looks good. So let's go ahead and, no, BRB. Well, there goes that one. Alrighty. Try this again. Put that in there. Put that in there. And maybe hold it with the screwdriver first. There we go. That's better. Screwdriver's too thin. I'll get a different one, snug them up later, but for now, let me just, because I have room. Yeah, I got the wrong screwdriver, you know. I got a stubby somewhere. One second, let's see if I can find my... Yeah, this'll do. Okay, got that. Now this guy is too big, so what I might do is, since this is grounded already, I might just tap into this guy over here. Perfect. Make sure you hold on to the connection so it doesn't move on you as it's getting tight. All right, and make sure not to over tighten it. Well, see, that's not working, because what's happening is as I'm tightening it, this is spreading. So I might just put a new connection on there, because it looks like I've got to put a new connection on this as well. So let's go ahead and do that. Love this little wire cutter. It's a perfect size for super uncomfortable positions. Trusty wire stripper. Let's see, any other connections need love? Nope. This one's gonna fit right. You know what? I could, since I'm working on cleaning things up, I could use this guy here instead. It's a little too big for well, maybe not when I tighten it up. You want it clean. That's the whole point of doing the bus bars, to keep the wires clean. So if I make a whole bunch of mess down there, then it defeats my purpose. So the whole time I'm thinking about where these wires would go and what I would have to do to keep them clean. Now that little stubby would have came in so handy right now, but sometimes it's not a perfect world and you gotta make do with what you got. It's perfectly fine when I find my stubby. And see, this is what I meant. You don't want your wires like this when you tighten it, right? So what you want to do is back off a little. All right, straighten it up and then tighten it. Airbox is in the way, otherwise I can't get to it. So there we go, nice connection. Could have put some heat shrink on here, but it's not bad. This is factory. This one I don't like. I might change it later, all right, because I don't really like how short it is. It stops me from hiding this anywhere nicely, but maybe we'll save that for the summer. Right now, I gotta get these two grounds. Crimped. Well, that's just about perfect. This one's too long. Got my rusty old crimper, but it does just fine. There it is. Nice crimp. Tug, 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 not going anywhere. What I am going to do is, just for giggles, I'm going to put some 3M tape on it. All right, nice and tight. That bad boy isn't going anywhere. Speaking of which, this guy's gonna get jealous if I don't tape him. So while I'm in here, why don't I do that? Actually, you know what? That's the one I don't like. So I'm going to leave that to the side for a second. So, in its place, put the one I just made. Get it in there. And make sure I don't strip the threads, because it is going in at a little bit of an angle. So just got to be careful I don't do that. Again, just make sure your connections are straight. All right. I mean, to be honest, that's fairly snug. I don't even need the stub, but all right. Find another crimp. This is a smaller gauge, so we might do a red guy. But before I do that, I want to check to make sure that I've got and by the way, if you're watching the video, you probably know that these crimped connectors have colors. Yeah, this is a real pain in the ass if you don't have a small stubby screwdriver, because this is getting all, it's starting to be a pain in the ass. So what I was basically saying is that before you crimp anything, just want to make sure that hole, right, can fit this, which it can, because you don't want to end up crimping it and then trying to connect it, realizing that the hole's either too big or too small. This is perfect. It's got a washer, so it's not going to move anywhere once it's in there. So that's perfect. I'm going to match these colors to the right gauge of wire, all right? And I know that's way too long, but since I'm going to tape it, I'm going to put it right there. I'm going to tape it up, but ideally you want it a little shorter. So you know what? Why don't we just make it short right here? There we go. All right. Happy? That's perfect. Now, my crimping tool, you see red on the bottom, blue in the middle, yellow. I put this sucker on red. I'm not going to make this about a crimp, but you have to make sure when you're crimping, you see that there's a break right there. You want that on top, so when you crimp it, that actually grabs onto both sides of the wire don't know if you're gonna be able to tell how I do this, but there you go. Crimped, nice and tight. Bad crimp. See that? That was a bad crimp. Glad I grabbed it. So instead, let's try it again.